what time it is.
How it all works.
Come on.
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 Good evening. What is good, fam? What is good? Listen. When I see stuff in the chat like this one is going to be legendary. Oh man, I'm already on cloud 200, right? This is going to be dope. I am super excited. I mean, at the end of the day, you got Anthony, you got me. We're going to chop it up. We're going to talk about how we do all the things, but you better believe we're going to be talking about EVMUX. So get your pen and paper ready. Tag a friend, share the live. Tag a friend, share the live. One of my moderators says, if the thumb is transparent, make it solid. I love that one. Anyway, what's good, fam? Talk to me. Where are you guys watching from? How has your week been? I love coming to this space. I love this time that we're able to share one another. I'm going to dive into the news quick because I want to make sure that we are able to have as much time as we possibly can with our guest. And so the first thing I always like to do, Tennessee in the house. I love it. Xanderman says Vegas. Let's go, Vegas. Rabbi Paskin says shalom, fam. Hey, Paskin, man, I shouted you out last week during the news on that pencil thing. So thank you so much for coming through and hanging out with us today, man. You were actually in the news last week. That is so dope. Let me go to let me see here. Let me just make sure. Yep, we're good to go. Let's go to our next scene. This is howitallworks.com. If you have Mobile, Alabama in the place, listen, Alabama, listen, that's where I'm at. I'm in Alabama. You're in Alabama. We are in Alabama. I love it. This is the website, y'all, howitallworks.com. I want to make sure you guys have this one bookmarked. I want to make sure you guys have, Wisconsin is in the house. Listen. On the site, you can find our latest live show, our latest YouTube video, our latest Amazon video, and our latest podcast. That's it. 4 videos, 4 things on the site. Every week we are updating this. We want to make it very simple. You go to howitallworks.com. You find everything to do with How It All Works. It's all here. Chicago is in the building. What's going on, Chicago? I love to see it. I love to see it. So I want to make sure you guys get a chance to check these out. Of course, this is our live show for right now. Thank you so much, Gary Jones. My mod squad is doing their good work in the chat. But right now, if you were to go to the site, right, people say, where can I watch the show? Howitallworks.com. Just go to howitallworks.com and you can watch the show. See, because the show is like, it's right there. It's right there. Like, this is the show. So this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. How to manage live streaming, setup, production, and software as a full-time content creator. Y'all, this is going to be a fun one. All right. And then the next thing down is our latest and our final of the EVMUX series. This is just the final of the series. This doesn't mean this is our final EVMUX video. This is a series of videos that I had kind of set out to do 7 of them. And this is the 7th and final one where we go over hotkeys and the Stream Deck. So excited for that. Sam is on. He says, let's go. Sam was my guest last week, so I'm excited that he's in the chat. Make sure you share. Make sure you tag someone. Listen, if they have questions about this whole content creator thing, managing production software, but also if you have questions about EVMUX, this is the night right here. Ready for mind blown. 2 of the smartest, the quickest minds on the internet. Come on, Zan. Come on. Listen, I love this. Definitely check us out on Amazon, and definitely make sure you check out that podcast. If you're trying to get paid, man, Justin Moore is setting the captives free. So you want to make sure you check this thing out. But with that said, let's get into the news.
Your number one source for live video news.
All right, EVMUX series are fire, Kirk. Thank you so much. Listen, a great video on hotkeys and Stream Deck. Thank you so much, Darius. Okay, man, the comments are still coming through. Listen, right. First up in the news, I want to make sure you guys know what's going to be happening next week. One of the things I love about EVMUX is that they have paid special attention to the remote producer. That's me. What is a remote producer, you might ask? A remote producer is somebody who takes care of all of the things for a live show like this one behind the scenes, right? So if you have an idea, you have a thought, you have something you want to get out there, you don't want to deal with the tech, you've been watching these channels, you're like, it doesn't look like it's too hard, but it's just not for me. Trust me, you want to get a remote producer, and I am going to be giving you 4 tips, 4 of my top tips for remote producers next week in our solo series. The 4th Monday of the month is always the solo series, so I want to make sure you guys get a chance to check that out. Next up in the news, we have an update from another streaming platform, which is StreamYard. Now check this out, y'all. They've got trimming and they've got video splitting. Now I want y'all to understand what I'm saying here. Understand me. Don't throw me under the bus just yet. We have to keep our tabs on the street to hear what's happening, to hear what's trending, what are people doing, how is it having impact. And this tool is something that we highlighted last week, the video trimming tool. But I just found out Sunday that they're extending it to have a video splitter. And I'm loving that. And I'm trying to figure out ways that I can incorporate these into some of the other things that I'm doing in other platforms as well. If you're not familiar with what video splitting means, it just means, if you want to trim out a whole portion of the video, let's say you don't want to show the news segment like what I'm showing right now, you could just trim out that whole portion of the video right there in the browser. I think that's pretty dope. And here's the thing I love about this. There are so many other web-based streaming platforms out there that this is not going to be a novelty for very long. So I'm excited about the trajectory. See, what we get to do as consumers is that we get to have voice and input and impact on what the end product these brands are actually doing. So I love that. I absolutely love that. Next thing in the news is, of course, YouTube is rolling out updates. I got 2 YouTube updates for you. Number one, YouTube's has updated the analytics UI for their Studio app. They have updated the analytics UI for their YouTube Studio app. So on your phone, you're going to see a lot more dedicated items on their channel. Performance is going to be in the Studio app on your phone now. But here's the one that is really stood out to me: AVD. AVD is now prominently placed in the UI in your Studio app. What is AVD, you might ask? If you are asking that, you're probably not a YouTuber, because AVD is average view duration. AVD is critical for those who are trying to grow on the platform. So I'm excited about the fact that YouTube is shifting some things up, and their shifts have not ended with this one. They've just rolled out YouTube handles. This is what I want to say to y'all. YouTube handles at your channel, at How It All Works, at Kirk R. Nugent, at Anthony Santana, at EVMUX. You want to get your handle today. Go and get your handle today. Listen, you want to make sure that you get your handle today, okay? The YouTube has updated the UI app, yes, but they've also rolled out handles. And handles, listen, if you're in the YouTube chat right now, you can at somebody and talk to them. Of course, you could do that before, but let me tell you, this handle thing is going to take over. This is a major shift. Trust me when I tell you, this is not what you're seeing today. This is what they're building towards. You want to follow the trend and the trajectory. It's not just this small move. It's what they're building toward. Sam has put his in the chat right now. He says, at live production tips and tools. He has his. Make sure you go and you get yours. Here is another one. This is probably how do we get our YouTube handles? Zan the Man, come on. Let's save that. I'm going to star that question right now. Zan the Man says, how do we get our handles? I'm going to star that question so I can come back to it in a little bit. But because it's really not, it's not hard. I mean, you can grab it. Yes, please grab your handle and secure your brand identity. David Harvey says, come on, David Harvey, coming in from Chi-Town. This one right here is critical. Now, Meta, if you're not familiar with Meta is simply the new name for Facebook, right? So Meta is the new name for Facebook, and Facebook, or Meta, I should say, has this headset called the Quest. And so the Meta Quest Pro has this new feature called pass-through mode. It is not actually fully rolled out yet. I don't know if it's in beta or if it's like a private test. But one of the YouTubers that I have been following for pretty much the better part of my adult life is MKBHD, and I'm pretty certain there's several other you guys that follow him out there. And he put out a quick little video. I want to show it to you. I might even pause it because I want to make sure you guys understand what's happening. In fact, let me just set this up real quick. He put out a video, and what he's going to do is he's going to take the Quest, which is a headset. He's going to put it up to the camera, and you're going to see through the headset what you would see if you put on this headset. Okay, so the Meta Quest Pro pass-through mode connects to your computer, and you can have one computer and it will project onto 4 monitors. Let's take a look real quick. So this is the laptop, and he's going to pick up, there it is. There's the Quest Pro. That's the set of goggles. That's what you would have on your head. And bam. Now, come on, y'all. Come on. Gotta see some clap emojis in the chat. This is ridiculous. Like, imagine being able to walk around with 3 screens. Like, Anthony, is this not dumb? Imagine being able to walk around with 3 screens just by putting on a headset. Like, I could produce, look at that screen real estate. This is bananas. So Meta Quest pass-through mode. Meta Quest pass-through mode. Absolute mind blown. Absolute mind blown. Like, this is crazy, y'all. 3 screens virtually. You don't have to carry something in your pocket. Just by having the headset with you, you now have 3 screens. What's good? What's good, Seesaw Studios? This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I want to make sure you guys are aware. I need it in my life. Listen, I'm trying to buy that thing like yesterday. I would simplify my whole Rode setup. Like, yes. Oh, that needs to happen. I'm super, super, super excited about that. Next up in the news. Listen, Sony has not quit. They refuse to be beaten. Sony again coming out with yet another camera, the Sony ZV-1F, the most affordable vlogging camera yet. Fam, this joint is 20.1 megapixels, 4K video, and it sells for $500. $500. That is bananas. Sony, what are you doing? You're killing us. So I've got to get my hands on one of these to do a quick video, to do a quick test, all of the things. It's crazy out here in these streets, y'all. It is crazy out here. All right. I've had way too much fun with the news. Listen. We're in for a treat tonight. I'm super excited about our guests, super excited about about all that we're going to get a chance to dive into. So without any further ado, let's go.
How it all works. Let's welcome our guest.
Oh my goodness, man. We are here. Listen, I don't know if you just cleaned out my bank account with all that news. What?
Listen, man.
Goodness,
no,
man.
listen. I was telling somebody, I was like, it is a crazy time to be alive. Like, you could put on some goggles and have 3 screens in front of you.
Look at this, man. I'm about to be portable. I'll be at Starbucks with 4 monitors, right?
You see what I'm saying? I would
That's
be
crazy.
Oh my gosh. And then you got 5G and other iterations of Wi-Fi and internet coming. That's going to be faster than Wi-Fi. So we won't need to be, tethered anymore. Listen,
Which
this
is
thing
crazy.
It's getting
Simplicity,
crazy.
man. Simplicity, ease of use. Technology is just, it's
Come
crazy.
on.
It's crazy, man.
I just love what it enables. It enables, creativity, like shed all of the limitations.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Like, what could you do if, forget about all the limitations.
Right.
What could you do? All right. I know we're going to geek out here. We're going to geek out here. But I have to take a second
100%.
and say, Anthony Santana, thank you so much. Let me hit that one more time.
Hey, all right, man.
Thank you so much for
excited,
being
man.
here, man. We are excited. How it all works, family. I want you guys to give a warm HIW welcome to Anthony Santana coming through to How It All Works to hang out with us tonight. This is absolutely amazing. I see you in the chat.
Excited,
Anthony
man.
in the house. Look at these
go.
kings of the stream.
Right.
I love it. James Hicks.
James in the house. Let's go.
Domino Entertainments is proud of y'all. I love this.
Let's go, Samuel.
Sam was like, yo, welcome,
Excited.
Anthony. I love this, man.
Excited,
there is
man. Pleasure to be here,
Seesaw
man.
Studios. Come
Pleasure
on,
to
there's
be here.
love in the community tonight.
All right, let's go, man.
Thank you, man.
Let's give him a show.
Absolutely, man. Listen. Without any further ado, man, let's get to the first question. Let's divide the stranger among us, as they say.
Let's do it.
Bro, talk to the folks a little bit about you, about your story. Now, we're going to get into your content creator origin story in a second. But this one, I want people to kind of know what you currently do. What does a typical week look like for Anthony? Talk to us.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the head of content for EVMUX, which maybe a lot of you are familiar with. Is a web-based live streaming platform that allows you to live stream and record content. And for them, I'm head of content. So a lot of the things that I do are the things that you see forward facing on social media, whether it be on Instagram, TikTok, on YouTube, all the tutorials that I'm bringing to you. So pretty much throughout the week for EVMUX, what I'm pretty much doing is I'm either reconning, doing research, getting connected with the community, answering questions, creating tutorial videos to be able to help our users be able to understand the platform of EVMUX better. So a lot of my week is spent mostly on community development, getting my ears to the ground, hearing what the users want, and then trying to create content and also trying to educate and help the dev team understand what the masses want and what the users want to try to make the best platform possible. So that's where a lot of my week is really spent, is just like listening and then creating content.
There's something that you just said right there that I don't want anybody to miss what he just said right there. There's a critical thing that happens, y'all. There's a critical thing that happens when you are in charge of creating the content. there is a two-way street that happens in terms of you create the content, people are going to start asking questions. And so one of the roles that may not be apparent to everyone, like this is not like glaringly obvious, is that he is also tasked with making sure that information goes back to the dev team, y'all.
Right.
That's critical.
Yeah.
That's critical. That's how our voice is heard. That's how we see the impact of what we share in the product. I think that's absolutely awesome in terms of, you know, one of the roles that you have in your job, man. I'm glad that you shared that with us. That is absolutely awesome, man. Absolutely
it's so
awesome.
important, man. It can't be done without the viewers and the audience, you know. The users are the ones applying it every day. So it's important to hear them. Yeah.
Very important.
100%.
Very important. It cannot be overstated. And I think there's a lot to be learned there, even just as we get ready to start. I know we were just getting ready. He's just giving us a little taste, but I think there's something to be said even right there. There's value in just that, in understanding that there's gold in that comment section, y'all. Do not leave it untapped, because you find your next videos in the comment section.
100%.
You find your next functions, features, iterations, right? Your next dev release, your next sprint, all of those things are in the comment section. So I want to make sure y'all are catching this. This video. This video should go viral. I love it.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. So listen, let's as I said, we're gonna move as quickly as we possibly can, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna move as quickly as we possibly can. Let's get this second question up here, because I want to make sure we have plenty time for your questions, y'all. How did you get started? This is one of those questions that people ask me to ask the guest all the time, and the reason for it is it's one of inspiration. It's one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, is that how you started? I won't lie to you. There are people who I've had on the show that I've been friends with for a long time, and when they tell me their origin story, I'm like, I didn't know that. You know, so I'm excited about this. I want you to kind of walk through. I know you wear two hats. So talk to folks about how you really got started. Now, you're head of content for EVMUX, but talk to us about how you got started in content creation. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I guess it started with a curious mind, right? I guess in the beginning, back in like 2019, I was still am an avid gamer. And that's kind of how I got started in the gaming space.
Love it.
And I wanted to start live streaming. I'm like, yo, you know, I'm playing the game a lot. I wanted to go ahead and I want to live stream. I see so many creators that are in the gaming space that are having success in sharing their passion. So I'm like, okay, let me learn how to do live streaming. And at that time, I knew nothing about video, nothing about microphone, nothing about gears. I was just curious, right? And I always turned to my second mother, which is Google, you know, and then YouTube at that time. So, you know, I started researching oh, how do you live stream? How do you use OBS? How do you, you know, set up a camera? And with that, I started streaming on a platform called Mixer that was owned by Microsoft, which is no longer around.
Mixer,
but at that
shout
time,
out to Mixer, man.
You know, RIP to Mixer, you know, because man, they didn't last long. But that really is what triggered my my content creation process. Because for me, I'm always someone that's like, if I learn something, I want to turn around and teach that other person, right? So if I can save you some time, I just prefer that. So at that time, everybody was making content on Twitch and YouTube and all these other platforms, but nobody was making content on Mixer. So I was like, wow, I'm getting a lot of questions about this. I'm just like, all right, as I learn, I'm going to turn around and make a video. And that's literally what I did. Every week I committed to whatever I learned the prior week to turn around and make a video, teaching people how to do that. So as I was setting up my camera, cool, let me make a video on how to set up my camera. And that's kind of how that process kind of started. And then I started falling in love with the fact of wow, you know, people are actually getting impacted by my content. This is actually getting people to say, hey, I want to start streaming, but you made it easy for me to understand how to get started. And now I got started. So I was like, wow, something that I'm just learning on my own spare time that's, you know, nobody's concern. Then I just turn around and make a video. And because of the power of YouTube and how it can reach so many people, it started to impact then. So of course, as that became the bias of teaching, I started to realize that my little superpower was being able to break down software in a simple and easy to consume format.
Wow.
So I started diving into live streaming, and as that journey came about, you know, started learning about the gear, started learning about the lighting, started learning about now video production in itself, right? How do you speak? Right. How do you talk better? So combining those two things in there, where I was like, okay, it took a long time to realize like, hey, what's my superpower? Okay, my voice. I know that my voice is my superpower. So I need to improve my speaking ability, my on-camera presence, and then like, how do I use this gear and then help people? So, and then that's when I came across EVMUX, right before they even launched. Got connected with EVMUX. They're like, hey, we're launching this software. We really would love for you to be, make some videos for us, make some content. And then, the rest was kind of history. They kind of realized that I had more skill sets than just creating content. And then I could be a good asset for the company to be able to help them reach more people and educate people on the software. And that's what's led us here today. But it's definitely sped up my level of knowledge and experience in creating content, because I'm doing this pretty much almost every other day, making videos, making content. So just getting better and faster and just 1% better. So that's in a nutshell, the high overview of kind of where it started. It started from a passion of gaming, and then it turned into learning about video production and content in itself.
One of the things I want to make sure that is highlighted here, I want to make sure that, this Kerwin, this is a big one. Yeah. It is. One of the things I want to make sure is highlighted here is that there is yes, and yes. Right. Anthony is the head of content for EVMUX, but I want you guys to understand that channel started when? Just a few months ago, is that correct?
The EVMUX channel is that's going to be now, what, 9 months? 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you guys to understand that. Now, when he talks about creating content for Mixer and some of the gaming that he does, he's talking about prior to that. And so you've grown a channel that has upwards of what? I forgot the name.
Like 28,000. Yeah, there's 28,000.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
28,000 of subscribers on there. We celebrate that.
Yeah.
And reason why I want to make sure that is mentioned is because he's not a stranger to this space. He's not a stranger to content creation. He understands the rhythm of it. Right? He understands what it takes to really make it all work.
Hey, love that.
How it all works. But this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up right here, is because I want to make sure that you guys all understand who it's. Yeah, there it is. Put it in the chat. LAS. That's what I'm talking about. But this is who he has. He has that body of experience as well. Right. He has that body of experience as well, and I think that is something that we definitely want to make sure we get a chance to highlight for everybody that is in the chat today. Listen, we are gonna throw this question out for the audience. We're doing really good on time, but we want to make sure that we get a chance to catch all of your questions. If we can, we want to make sure we get a chance to catch all of your questions. Oh yeah. Listen, in the business with Next Step, Casey is like, listen, I'm gonna put it up here. I love it. But this question, we're throwing it out there for you guys. You could probably read it on the screen faster than I can, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Content creators, what is the number one thing that consumes your time from week to week? What is the number one thing that consumes your time from week to week? One of the things that I spoke at a conference a couple weeks back, and I was saying to people, there's this life cycle of content. It doesn't matter if it's a podcast, if it's a live show, if it's YouTube videos, if it's Instagram, if it's TikTok, but there's a cycle. From the time you post one to the time you post the next, there's a cycle that we all know what that cycle takes. And so what I'm asking you to do is to think about your cycle and think about what is the number one thing that consumes your time. Like if you could figure out a way to shorten that thing, then you would be that much more further ahead of the game. Talk to us in the comments about what is that number one thing. So Zan the Man says the tech. The tech. The tech is definitely going to be one of the trending ideas out there. Yeah. But the reason why I want to ask this question, ideal development. I love that one, Darius. That's a good one. Seesaw says editing content created for my client or church. I love that one. Computer Pal says video editing. Domino Entertainment says a team. It says team. I don't know. So the team takes you the time, man. That's rough. Yeah. Hey, I wasn't sure on that one. I wasn't sure on that one. But this is critical. And the second piece of that question is, okay, yes, what is that thing and what is it related to? So if you say the tech, but what is it related to in terms of your cycle? What is it related to? And we're posing all of this because we're setting you guys up. You know how it goes. We got to set you up. We know where we're going with this thing. We know where we want to land. Kerwin says planning, scripting, content, and proofing. My gear, man. Oh yeah, proofing my gear. I like that one. I actually like that one. Proofing my gear. Listen,
Yeah.
I did a restart like shortly before Anthony connected in
important.
because I
I
wanted to
did the
proof
same.
my gear. Right.
I did
It's
the
not it's
same.
not a game.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about, and I'm an old school streamer, if you will. I used to stream on a platform called Mogulus way back in the
Oh,
day.
wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
Mogulus was then purchased or brought into another umbrella company called, for lack of a better term, live streaming, right? They were literally called live streaming.
Yeah.
And so Mogulus was purchased by live streaming, and then live streaming, just to kind of round it out, became Vimeo. Right. So Vimeo purchased live stream. So, but I used to stream on that platform, and it was a closed platform, meaning you couldn't stream. People had to come to watch, and you'd stream into that platform. It wasn't like you stream to Facebook or any of that stuff. And so the reason why I share that is because there was a lot of equipment, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of team members, there's a lot of moving parts. Like, I want you guys to understand that an encoder was a physical device that you had to actually set up for each destination you were streaming to. And so I share that because I want to share with you guys, like, when we talk about production software, when we talk about, Anthony and I were talking about this in the pre-show, are we really fully understanding what all has been crammed into these platforms that we use?
Right.
Do we have a reverence and a respect for what is happening when you're able to stream from a browser? And if you did, you'd understand that even the timeline, or the circle or cycle, I should say, of your content creation, even now, has been shortened because of these platforms that we have availability to. So you guys have answered that question. Let's throw another question up here. This is the meat and potatoes of our conversation today for Anthony. Talk to us about how you manage both, let's say, all of the things, right? So you're doing content for EVMUX, of course. There is, of course, live content that must be done. There is, we talked about, making sure the post went live on all the different platforms. There is a lot. How do you manage, how do you manage it all?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. I think it comes down, number one, discipline and focus. I think that's the number one thing that I've kind of come to realize. And since we have Zan the Man in the chat, I would say that's something that he kind of constantly says to me is WIN is the acronym, right? What's important now? So with that is, it allows me to focus. So again, for me to be able to manage creating content for EVMUX, handling all the production there, making sure that, we're visible online, and then making sure that I also maintain a personal brand and personal presence going on, and still maintain time to do hobbies and things that I enjoy and spend time with family. And I contributed to living by a calendar. Okay. It's by far one of the biggest thing that has allowed me to kind of maintain kind of some saneness and avoid burnout as much as possible. But beyond the calendar, it goes to going deep with it and setting some time aside, right? I think every single day of the week, Monday through Friday, I have set days that I focus on certain activities, whether that be a full day of activities or blocked out time of activities, because I understand that, shifting your mind from task to task is really gonna burn you out. And then you're not gonna be as efficient as possible. So I'll set time aside and say, okay, I'm doing research for the next 30, 60, 90 minutes. I'm creating content for the 30, 60, 90 minutes. I'm editing, focusing on emails. So it all comes down to where it's like, it's a lot. But once you realize that there's a lot of activities, especially as a creator, there's so much things you can be doing, so much. And I know there's 100 things more that I should be doing, but there's only a few things that are really important that are actually going to move things forward for you. They're going to help you grow your channel, grow your business, help you reach that next level. And those are the things that I focus on. I know that the biggest driving factor for EVMUX as a software is video, right? We need to create tutorials and content. So I focus heavily on creating that kind of content and tutorials. So that's pretty much kind of like what the main kind of process behind it is just, I just try to be as intentional as possible with my day, with my time. I try to protect it as much as possible. And then I know as you get into the content creation process, you know your limits, right? I know that I can only produce so many videos in a day.
Yeah.
I know that I can only edit so many videos in a day. So with that, I think that I balance it out. Every day has a set goal, and I know that goal coming in, and then I know how much time I'm going to spend on those tasks, and then that's how I'm able to move forward. That way, at the end of the day, I'm not burnt out, and I still have time to enjoy the things that I do, spend time with my wife, have some kind of a life, and still be able to say, wow, like I'm being very productive. But in all reality, I'm like doing very few things, but those very few things really make a difference on both spectrums. So I think that that's the biggest thing that helps me focus on the right task, is what keeps me going forward and kind of keeps me able to manage it all. And of course, tech. Can't do it without no tech. That's for sure.
That is for sure.
But
I love that. And Kerwin Bornell in the chat is agreeing with you. I mean, literally his comment came in right as you were saying, focus, keep your eyes on the prize, focus. But I also have to say, I really love the acronym WIN. I don't know that I've heard that before.
Yeah,
what's important now?
Acronyms.
No, there's somebody that's out there that's saying, I kind of expected a more technical answer, and I'm glad he didn't answer technically, because I really don't believe it's a technical problem. I don't. Balancing all of the things is not a technical issue.
Right.
The tech may be one of the major time sucks of our week, right? But the tech isn't necessarily it's not necessarily a tech problem. And so we are understanding what is most important, what is going to be the win. And I just love the way you shared that there. What is the win for the moment? What is the win for the time frame? What is the win? What's the most important thing I can do today that's going to have impact? And I also have to interject here, because I firmly believe that your live stream is your digital storefront. Like, that's one of my slogans, because there's no greater way for people to experience what you have to offer than for them to see you do it live. And so one of the things that he said was, what's most critical for EVMUX right now is to put content out, video. Video. As a new company, as a startup, how are they going to gain notoriety? How are they going to create an audience? How are they going to be known? How are they going to get that critical feedback? The only way to innovate, the only way to iterate is to get that feedback. Video. Right. Let somebody put something out there and demonstrate it. I was able to do a couple of videos, but if you've been following the EVMUX channel, you know that this guy has been churning out content. I mean, like, and I love the way you do it, because it's methodical, it's bite size. It's like, we're just going to deal with this one thing. I can't tell you how many coaching calls where I'm saying to folks, that video you just specced out with me, that's at least 5 videos. You need to make it as small as you possibly can, and then you make it into a series. You can record all 5 in one sitting, and then edit it. Make sure that you think about that ahead of time, so that when you're scripting, it's evident that these are 5 separate videos, even though it's one complete thought. But there's so many hacks that Anthony is sharing with us. In terms of finding that balance, in terms of being able to say, there's a lot, but here's what's important right now, and what's going to actually move the needle. Right. And if it doesn't move the needle, guess what? The only way to know if it's not going to move the needle is for you to do it.
Right. Yeah, 100%.
And then come back and tweak and try something else. And I just absolutely love, what we've been able to chat about here. Listen, this is our final question for Anthony. I'm throwing it up on the screen. All right. And I know, y'all are like, whoa, final question is 7:35. We want to leave time for you guys. Q&A. You guys have questions about remote production, about content creation, about managing it all. If you have questions about software solutions, particularly EVMUX, we want to leave time for that. So here's what we got. Grandma Joe is here. She says EVMUX rocks. I love it.
Let's go. Grandma Joe in the house. All right.
Grandma Joe in the house. Time flies. Here's a question. What are some tips and tricks, best practices you can share with us that have helped you to manage it all? Now, I know you shared a few just a second ago, but is there anything else that you could throw out for the audience that they can walk away with and say, I'm going to try that? It doesn't necessarily sound probable, but because both Kirk and Anthony are saying this may be the way, I'm going to try that. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So of course, like I just mentioned, the calendar, that's like a given. But when we're talking about content creation and creating content, and I think a lot of people in this audience are content creators, the biggest tip that I can give you is to learn how to do recon. right? So this is how you can learn how to do recon, right? There are thousands of creators, thousands of people that are out there making the kind of content that you want to be able to make, right? Now, what makes you different? If I'm talking about a certain platform and Kurt's talking a different platform, what makes us different is our personality, is our approach, is our teaching style, is how we come about and entertain the audience, right? It's your personality. That's the differentiating factor. So if I can tell you the one thing that can help you be able to avoid like not having ideas to content, losing motivation, is to spend time following the creators. Don't think as other creators are doing the same thing as you as competitors. Think of it as a collaboration, right? You may not be working together, but they've done work for you already that's going to save you time and you don't even know them, right? So in that sense, there are opportunities for you to, if you're looking for ideas to create content, I'm constantly spending time looking at other platforms, looking at other creators that are talking about the same things that I'm talking about. And I'm not just watching their video, I'm in their comments, right? Because the users are the ones that know, the viewers are the ones that know. This is why for EVMUX, our biggest driving factor is to listen to the community. And we always want to be listening to the community because we can only know so much. When you have 10 brains and you multiply that by 100, you can go so much farther, right? So we understand the process. Like, okay, we know the foundation, but we know that our users are going to be the ones that are going to lead us and create us to be the number one platform that we want to become. So with that, I recommend that you spend time on Instagram, spend time on YouTube, be inside of the comments, look at what the viewers are saying, because sometimes a creator may make a video that's amazing, but in the comments they're like, I wish you would have talked about this. I wish you would have mentioned this. There's your opportunity to go out there and make the kind of content and take what was already been taught, but add the things that were missing. Because once you make a video, the only way to fix it is to make another, right? So with that, I think that creating focus in your schedule and being intentional with the actions you take every single day, and then looking and understanding that we're in a content-driven world, right? And the only way for you to be able to continue to put yourself out there and have little, what I call soldiers working for you 24/7 is to make content and be inspired by other creators. Don't look at it as competitors. Look at what they're doing, see how you can complement what they're doing and how you can serve that same audience, because we're all serving the same audience. Kirk talks about live stream, more production. We're doing thing on EVMUX, doing the same on my channel. Like, it's the same. We're talking about the same concept, the same industry. But at the end of the day, there's things I can learn from Kirk. There's things Kirk can learn from me, and it's back and forth, right? So think always as a collaborative standpoint. And I think that that's the biggest tip that I can give you. Master recon and master learning and understanding who the audience you're trying to serve truly is.
Oh, man. This is a masterclass. This is we got to drop a bomb for that one. This is gold. I see the chat lighting up. One person just straight up said, "You two are the blueprint. You guys are the blueprint."
All right, let's do it.
You guys are the blueprint. But I think the abundance mindset is definitely. It's a shift. I won't lie to you. Having come from other industries and other work environments, other disciplines, it is a shift that had to be made when I came into the content creator world, and I was like, wait a minute. Like I remember when Melanie Diane Howe, this is another person that creates content on streaming. She actually sent people from her video to my video. Yeah. At the end of her video, and I was like, what? People do that? Yeah. On YouTube? Okay. I said, this is different. Yeah. But what I realized was that now our audiences, because there's that zigzag that happens. So me personally, even for my EVMUX series, there are videos where I recommend the EVMUX videos at the end, right? I purposefully, you get two. You get two. So I recommend one of the EVMUX videos so that people know, both. And what happens is you start to get that algorithm working on both sides. And now that's a whole nother hack and another. It's a whole nother. That's going deep. Yeah, it's going deep. But there's an abundance mindset that you just touched on there with the whole idea that it's about collaboration, not competition. Right. There's a lot 100%. More for us. Now, somebody else asked, like, hey, Kirk, can you share your tip or your top tip as well? Yeah. And one of the things I like to say to folks is nobody wants perfect. Nobody wants perfection. I think you kind of touched on this, Anthony, by saying the only way to fix something in a video is to create another video. Yeah. I love that concept. because inherent in the concept is that this video is not going to be perfect.
Right.
So publish the video. And so one of the things that I constantly deal with as a coach is people feeling like, I want to redo that. Listen, if you think, if you are taking into your content creation journey a mindset of your favorite sitcom or your favorite TV show, you are incorrect, family. That is not what people come to YouTube for. They not only do they not want perfect. Let me just burst your bubble real quick. They want imperfection. I want to. It's not up there now, so don't go look for it. But one of the videos that people absolutely love from me is when the camera fell over, and I had to, like, you could watch me reaching down to pick up the camera and put it back on the desk. They love imperfection because they resonate with what's imperfect. They resonate with what's real.
Resonate, keyword.
That's so. So what? One of the things that Anthony shared earlier, I don't know if I hope you caught it, is he was learning and creating.
Yep.
I learned this week. I made a video this week. I posted that video. I learned something new. I created a new video. I posted that video.
Right.
This is when I talk about that cycle. The biggest tip I could say for folks is, don't overguess it. Don't try to make it like your favorite TV show. I'm not saying don't have a standard that you hold yourself to. I mean, if you're looking at my show, you know I hold myself to very high standard. But I'm also using my show as my digital storefront, right? My show is my catalog. This is my portfolio. When somebody says, hey, I would love for you to produce my show. Can I see something that you've done? Just go to my channel. There's a whole playlist of shows that I produce for myself, and this is what your show could look like. But you have to understand what that end goal is all about. And that's the thing I would love. I want to make sure people walk away with. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Oh yeah.
Do not edit yourself out, right? You know, the little things that you say, like, I hate that I say that. I hate that I scratch my head that way. No, people resonate with that stuff.
Right.
They resonate with that stuff. They eat that stuff up. Do not take your, Anthony said this as well. I'm just going to piggyback on this and then we're going to move on.
Yeah.
You are the difference maker. We create the same content. We're talking about the same stuff. The only thing that's different is Anthony and Kirk. Anthony doesn't have Kirk on his channel, and I don't have Anthony on my channel, and that's why we have two separate channels. Otherwise, so if the difference maker is me, then I can't edit me out of the content. And that's the piece I want to make sure that people walk away with.
It's the personality and being yourself. That's the key. That was huge. I mean, I think that trumped everything I said, right? Because that right there, I think is by far the biggest thing, because it's your personality. And I think I say this all the time, especially in the live streaming space. Say, I'm scared to be on video. Just be you, right? And understand that you're not put in this world to serve everyone. There's a group of people out there that you're destined to serve, that they're waiting for you to get on camera to share what it is you want to share. And if you don't get out there and just be yourself, of course, right? The crazy thing is that there can be 100 people that say, I love your content, and one person that says, I don't like it. But we always tend to focus on the one person that said they don't like it. And we just discount the people that actually do love the content. If there's no negative pull, then you're just trying to please everyone. And really, in order for you to be yourself, you're not friends with everybody, right? There's some people that you're closer to than others, right? Because there's a connection there. But the only way people can connect with you is by being yourself. So they know who the real you are. So I love that. That was the clip of the year right there. Personality. Okay. That's key.
That is the cheat code. That is the cheat code, man.
That is the cheat code.
Fam, listen, this comment section has gone nuts. Right, it has gone nuts. I am trying my best to find, like, is there an order to this thing? Listen, I'm gonna grab a couple of comments. This is what I want you to do. My moderators are gonna help us here, fam. If you have questions for Anthony or we have about 10 minutes before I want Anthony to plug whatever he's got going on so that we can kind of find him, follow him on all of the different places and all the different things. But we got 10 minutes. Want to make sure you guys get a chance to ask your questions. Put a queue in front of your questions right now. I have one or two of them that are favorited that I'm going to try and grab real quick. But even as we are answering these, go ahead and put your questions in there. Ellie asked this. I caught a live with Anthony randomly earlier this week and downloaded EVMUX. 10 minutes later, I streamed with it the first time today. It was so awesome. Thank you. Okay, this is not a question, but this is a dope comment. Congratulations, Ellie. I love that comment.
Welcome.
Let me see here. We got that one already. All right. So another person says EVMUX rocks. Okay.
Let's go.
How do we get our YouTube handle? Oh man, I think that one has already been taken care of as well.
Okay, yeah.
It's I'll put a link in the description. How many speakers can we have on stage at one time? Here we finally have a question.
You got a question.
Yes,
okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
so
go ahead, Anthony.
In EVMUX, you can have 12 speakers on stage at the same time without any issues at all. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to have that many speakers on there, where you're still able to be stable, sustainable, and be able to still produce a good show. So 12 is the amount you can have on stage.
Yeah. Here's that's and I hope that you guys caught that one. That's a lot of people. Now I'm going to hasten to add right there. I'm putting my coach hat on. Okay.
Yeah.
So folks, EVMUX is giving you 12. Okay. But here's the thing. Do you need 12? Right. Can you manage a show with 12? Right. Okay. So I always wonder why, because I guess the Zoom thing has kind of, done all kinds of stuff.
Right.
With
Yeah.
folks. But folks, if EVMUX is to run a show and not necessarily a meeting. Mm-hmm. I always want to make sure that folks, I'm sorry, this is just me. And I want to make sure that people walk away with a full understanding of what we're talking about. And their different platforms meet different criteria. That's why they have these different tiers. That's why they sit in a specific spot. And I love where EVMUX is, because I feel like it's right in that sweet spot. I'm kind of playing to the branding right now, but it's in that sweet spot, because honestly, it gives you that basic, but it gives you that high level, advanced as well. But I want you to understand that just because the feature is there doesn't mean you have to use it. Now, I think that Christian Saz has a really good comment here. He says, EVMUX, it would be good if EVMUX had a place on the website where they listed their updates, all the updates. So that's just a quick one. I wanted to share that with you. I think that's great feedback. I don't know, maybe if that's something you guys do have.
That was actually somebody, one of our users as well, inside of our Facebook group, as well, asked for like a roadmap of updates. So we're currently right now in the process of creating something like that, as well as creating a Discord community that's going to be for our affiliates and beta testers and things of that sort that we can continue to provide education to. But yes, that roadmap is important. I think it's important to see what features are being worked on, what features are in the works. It is being something we've talked about, and it will definitely make an announcement once it's available for sure. But it's a great question. Great question.
Absolutely. That's a great comment. I think that was from Christian Saz. Thank you so much for that. And we heard the response there. It's coming. And I want to make sure that people also understand, fam. What did you say? 9 months? Did you say 9 months?
Yeah, 9. Yeah, we launched January 17th is when we launched EVMUX. Yep. I want January 17th, and today is the 17th. So that's exactly, you guys, today's the 17th. So this is exactly like today is their 9-month anniversary. Yeah. I want to make sure that folks give grace. I see the comments. Some of y'all are not giving grace. Probably not the people that are in this conversation, but I see, I've done 7 videos on EVMUX now, probably more if you count the live streams and some of the other stuff. I've seen some of your stuff. They've been great.
I think keep in context that this is a 9-month-old company. So there is a lot to build out, and they're doing it. And they're they're committed to doing it, and they're also committed to hearing your voice. So I think there's something huge to be said there. So I wanted to just kind of pause and kind of add that. I hope that's okay. Shauna Velasco has asked this question. She says, any advice for having a great channel idea but too scared to be on camera? Right? So she has a great channel idea, but too scared to be on camera.
Sure. I think that that's a great question. I'm going to tell you right now, there's plenty of successful channels that are not on camera. So there doesn't need to be a fear of wanting to get started. The whole idea behind like being afraid of being on camera is that we all deal with it, no matter where you are, no matter what creator you see now. There comes a point, even when I first started, I was like, if I go back and look at my first video that I did, I said, what was I thinking? Right. But the only thing that kept me going was knowing that it's like, okay, in the beginning, it's going to be uncomfortable. You may look awkward on camera yourself, But you have to understand that in order for you to get over that, it's the continued application. So when people ask me, how do I get over the fear of having on camera? I say, practice, turn the camera on and do the video as you would. Don't post it if you don't want to, but get into the practice of talking to yourself, whether it be when you're brushing your teeth or right when you're looking in the mirror. Just get into the habit of talking to a camera like if it was a friend. But again, you don't need to be on camera. Why don't you do the video or the idea, if possible, from your point of view, right? So it's a way for you to be able to create that content, put yourself out there, and then you'll naturally one day or as you go be like, okay, you know what? I'll be on camera. I'm here. Or somebody may catch a reflection in the glass and say, we see the face behind the channel. And now you're forced to be on cam. But I'm going to tell you right now, don't let it stop you from creating a content or starting a channel, especially if you have an amazing idea, because one of the biggest things that I learned is momentum, right? Every day that goes by that you have an idea that you don't take action on, you lose that momentum. And then guess what happened? That idea goes to the grave, and the people that were meant to be able to see that content and to be inspired and impacted by that are now never going to see that. So, they say, where are the best ideas? In the grave. Because some of them are not acted upon. So take that action. Figure out a way to do it without your camera, but don't let that stop you from actually creating the content. For sure. My word. So listen, I think that.
Listen, that. Listen, we got to do the drama horn on that one. My gosh, that was fire. I just need y'all to. So only thing I want to tack on here, and this is shameless, but I'm going to do it anyway. Shauna, number one, there was a video. There's in the news last week, in my news segment from last week's show, I talked about this platform. I think it's called Synesthia or something like that. It literally has AI video that is based on your audio or your text. So faceless channels are a thing. What Anthony said 100%. Is absolutely dope. But what I do, and I'm putting my QR code on screen so you can grab that and get 15 minutes. Scan that right there. Go ahead and book 15 minutes on my calendar, because one of the things I like to do is talk with people who feel like I have a great idea, but I don't want to be on camera, because there's something else there.
Oh yeah.
There's something else there. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with who have regular monthly or not weekly live shows today who told me 6 months ago, a year ago, I'm not a camera person.
Yeah.
So there's something else there.
Yeah.
And I would love to chat with you about that. 15 minutes gives us enough time to kind of get to know one another and figure out that we are a good fit for us to be able to work with one another. But I would love to be able to chat with you a little bit further about that. We got a couple more questions. I'm trying to move quick. Let's see here. The 12 speaker thing, I kind of developed a life of its own.
Can we talk about the technology of the QR code though? Can we talk about it, right? Look at that, man. How do you make a link clickable on a live stream?
There you go. There you go. Come on with the QR code.
I love it, man.
Listen, here's another from Ellie. Do you have any tutorials on what are the best camera settings to keep in focus? I'm using a Sony a7R III, nice camera, but I coach live fitness. Oh, okay. So you need more like a GoPro kind of a deal.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of moving. Sorry if this is a rookie question. It's not a rookie question.
No, not at all.
What I love about your question, Ellie, is that this is what people need to understand when we talk about, hey, what's the best camera? Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Because now that you've given us context, so do I have any tutorials on that? I do not, but that's a conversation that we could have. And I'm going to throw this to Anthony, but before I do have a live show on Amazon every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday where we talk about gear. And it's a lot looser schedule, and I have more latitude to be able to really dive deep, literally bring up the Amazon screen and start looking at cameras with you. So if that's something that's interest to you, definitely come back through and check us out. I'd love to be able to chat with you about that. But Anthony, any ideas on this one?
Right out of the gate, the biggest thing you can do is that make sure that the setting inside the camera is set to wide focus. I don't know how much you're moving. Of course, you can go deeper into actually looking at an equipment that's perfect for what your setup is. But if you're talking about an immediate fix right now, like the camera has like a center focus, a wide focus. So that way, when you have a wide focus, it's not getting so blurry or out of focus when you move left and when you move right. A wide focus is actually meant for more of a movement. So I would try that. We are in soon. Once we get through some more tutorial videos on EVMUX, I'll start diving into some more gear and setup wise of like, how do you light your show? How do you have a good microphone? And we'll start diving into some equipment later on the channel. But Kurt can definitely help you out there with the Amazon Lives for sure.
No, listen,
for the gear.
We want to get people across the line. I like to tell people it's not live selling, it's live solving, right? We're helping you to solve problems live. Yeah. Now those solutions do have a price tag on them, and I do get an affiliate sale. But that's what it is. I want to. So Shauna, I'm going to come back to you because I want to ask my moderators if you can put my link in the chat, kirkrnugent.live /book me. kirkrnugent.live/book me. Put that link in the chat for me. She was not able to scan the QR code because she's on her phone.
So
here I'm thinking, here it is. I came through with it, but I didn't account for that. But I'm putting it back up on the screen just for maybe you could take a screenshot of it.
That's what I was thinking, right? Screenshot it, email it to yourself, scan it later.
But for my team, go ahead and put that link in the chat. kirkrnugent.live/book me. You guys know the link. Go ahead and put it out. There it is. David Hunt already put it in the chat, so she's got it. I want to catch these. Listen, even as we're coming down to the wire here, so y'all gonna have to give us a few more minutes because I know that Anthony's gonna want to answer some of these. Here we go. So this is one from Grandma Joe. She says, "Do the viewers know that with EVMUX you can use for meetings, family connections, as well as streaming, recording?" With a question mark. She says extremely versatile. Also, features growing as we as content creators grow as well. So Grandma Joe is not asking a question. Well, she is, but she's kind of it's a roundabout thing. But I do hope that that viewers do know that it is not just about live streaming. It is a production tool. Yes, you could use it for meetings, even with your family, and they have the layouts for it. That's 100%. Pretty dope. You don't have to build that out. You can just pick a layout, bring everybody in, send the link out, done. So that is something that it does meet. I don't know if you want to touch that one, but there's another one here that I definitely want you to take.
All right, perfect. Yeah, and then one of the things on that with Grandma Joe is just that, and it touching back on also what you mentioned earlier in the news with the trimming tool with StreamYard, right? Well, one of those things in there is just like inside of EVMUX, we have the trimming feature, and that video actually comes out next week showcasing the trimming and splitting feature inside of EVMUX. But it's like you said, it's just, again, it's just listening to the audience and going back. You can see that platforms are going to evolve, right? And one of the things that talking with Kurt in the back is like, why do you deal with so many live streaming platforms? Is because, hey, I serve different clients based on certain needs. And I think that's the biggest thing there, right? Yeah. What platform serves your need the best? And of course, we're trying our best to be able to become the live streaming and recording sweet spot for so many creators out there and producers as well. So, but happy to answer that next question for sure.
Yeah, here's the next one, because the reason why I wanted to make sure we got this one, if we go a little over, because I feel like this is right in your alley. How would you use EVMUX for a hybrid event? This is beautiful. So all right. So the biggest thing here is maybe a little back history a little bit first to understand why EVMUX was created. And we'll really quick here, but EVMUX came, the creators, the founders of EVMUX are coming from the event space, meaning that they've been doing in-person events for over 10 years. Okay. The reason why EVMUX was created was to solve a need, right, for their own personal clients in the space. When the pandemic hit, events got shut down, right? But at the end of the day, events are a huge part of companies to be able to bring community together and to build deeper relationships with their users and brands and companies. So even though events in person couldn't happen, the events in virtual had to happen. And that's where kind of like the whole hybrid aspect came through, where it's like, okay, now I'm going to do virtual events. So the EVMUX process started with, like, the founders were utilizing tools like OBS, using vMix, connecting all these different tools together and seeing the complexity of it. So instead of them trying to further solve what's the best platform, they decided to create their own. And that's where EVMUX was created, right? To solve the issues. This is why you see a lot of the features inside of EVMUX are really focused on producers, because the creators are producers. So having those features in there are very important. So to answer your question about hybrid events, this is the beautiful thing about it, right?
we do a lot of based on your in-person setup, right? So let's say, for example, if you have an in-person setup, you're able to go ahead and utilize EVMUX to be able to produce that in-person event, right? To be able to have the on-screen displays, to be able to have the multi-camera switching. And then at the same time, you're able to also live stream that event directly inside of EVMUX to your multiple social platforms, to any custom RTMP destination. So the beautiful thing is that in EVMUX, the only thing that changes from hybrid from in-person to online is the gear. The software itself remains the same. So what you create in EVMUX can be displayed also in person and can also be displayed both online. So, and I know, Kurt, you have a lot of experience with producing in-person events and also hybrid events. So if there's anything you want to add on there from your experience, feel free.
No, you hit the nail on the head, but I want to make sure that people are understanding the origin story was, in my opinion, the crux of the answer. These are people who they still are in the event industry.
Still are, yeah.
They're still in the event industry. Hybrid events is a term that came out of the pandemic. So during the pandemic, there were no hybrid. We just had virtual events. Yeah. Prior to the pandemic, hybrid was not really a defined term, although there were events that you had in person and online.
Right, yeah.
But mostly it was in person, right? So during the pandemic, it was all online. And then we realized the benefit of online. And so coming out of the pandemic, it became this hybrid thing. So, Lakia is the one that asked the question. And so to me, how can you use EVMUX to do a hybrid event?
Yeah.
I mean, it's setting up the gear on site, right? As you would, let's say, I know Lakia is in the faith-based space, so she does have a church that she's hired to
Darius
work at.
is perfect guy for this then.
Exactly. So she's going to have an audience inside the building, and then she's got an audience online. So now think about things like having hosts for your online audience. Being able to cut from what's happening in person to some hosts that are dedicated to online and then back again. EVMUX can handle those things, right? Think about being able to ingest assets so that now you're in my bag, right? So
now you're in your bag. That's what I'm saying,
Now we're there, right? So, but you can play a video that's going to play both in-house and for the folks online. And it's just a matter of audio routing to be able to manage that. But all of that can happen, of course, with the EVMUX platform, and of course some hardware equipment. Right? Now I'm not gonna say it's just EVMUX. Like you will have to have hardware equipment. But again, I know the person asking the question, so I have an unfair advantage because she's actually sent me a picture of their studio setup. Nice. So I've highlighted that on the Amazon Live show. But the idea is what I want to make sure everybody walks away with. The platform is versatile. But I think it is always relevant to understand the origin. Yes, it's going to morph and it's going to take on a new life, but we must understand the origin for us to appreciate why it was created. It was created to solve a problem. And the problem was exactly what you talked about, and that is hybrid events. And also from a remote producer standpoint, there's just so many boxes that it checks. So that's why I'm a fan. And I want to make sure you guys get a chance to take advantage of it as well.
Yeah. I did see a question here from this last one. I think it was really, if you can, if possible. Because this is a good one from Samuel. It says, will we have an installed version of EVMUX in the future, or will it stay in the browser? And I think this is a good one to address simply because the reason why EVMUX was created in the browser was for the simple to not be dependent so much on your machine, right? Because there's times, an example in our town hall, where a lot is traveling. Right. So if I have a machine and I have a software, most of my assets, like my overlays, my graphics and things of that sort, are saved directly on my device, my computer. But as soon as I move away and I travel, I'm not going to travel with my whole gear to another state. Right. So what a web-based platform allows you to do is to be able to access your production and your show directly from, as long as you have a Google browser and internet access. So for example, you see this amazing production of Kurt's show, right? So if he's on his current machine, machine and all these assets are his machine, but he has to run his show next week, but he's not home. Now the show's going to look different because otherwise he has to make sure he backs up his assets, brings a hard drive, gets everything set up. Whereas if you're using a web-based platform, you simply get on the computer, you go to evmux.com, you log in, and everything is there ready to go.
Everything is there.
Right. So I think that's why the idea of turning into a software is probably not in the direction at the current moment, because of the simplicity of what we want to utilize, to where it's like we know that having internet access in a browser is a lot easier than carrying your whole PC setup. So so with that, go ahead.
No. You hit the nail on the head there again. I love the way that you answered it, because people need to understand the context. It was made this was a decision that was made for them to have that. But what I also like is that while it is in the browser, they are giving us things that would not normally be given to us as a browser platform. So that's been really good as well. Listen, as we get ready to land this plane, right? There's one final question there. Somebody was asking, when is the next EVMUX live show? And as I kind of click around in EVMUX on screen for people to see, just as a FYI for those who are watching, what you're seeing on this side of me, of us here, is EVMUX. I'm in a studio. And then of course this is the dashboard. So I'm just kind of showcasing this. But while you're closing out, answering when is the next EVMUX live show, but also just tell people what are some of the things that, whatever you can share, right? Whatever you can share. I know that there's plenty that you can't, but whatever you can share. You just shared one in terms of the video clips and trimming and splitting, I should say. You just shared that piece, which is absolutely phenomenal. But talk to us a little bit about some of the other things that you guys have coming up. You talked about a conference in January, some other things. Talk a little bit about those pieces as we get ready to close it out.
Yeah, of course. So for anybody who wants to know, our town halls for EVMUX are every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can find us on YouTube. We go live on YouTube. We go live in the private Facebook group. We go live on LinkedIn. So you can find us on all those platforms every single week. We literally, next week is our 40th town hall, consistent 40 weeks going live with the town hall since we launched. That's happening next week. So definitely tune in there. But as far as some things coming up, for EVMUX, things that I can share for those that haven't been here. Number one, our live booster event, which is our annual virtual event for EVMUX. We did a live booster event last January when we launched EVMUX, had some amazing speakers, some amazing guests on there. And now it's about that time to start launching that. So soon you'll see some announcements. It's going to happen in January. We'll have a hard date. And currently right now we're acquiring speakers, building a huge powerhouse of speakers that are going to help with the power of live streaming and content creation and how to build your business and your personal brand, utilizing the live booster event. So that's coming up there. But as far as features goes, these are some of the things that are pretty much almost ready to go. And these are going to be our multi-camera feature. This is going to be our web browser, our web sources, to be able to allow third-party integration, right? This is going to allow integrating with music, and animated alerts. So those are the two big ones that are being developed. And then there's some others that I can't share just yet. But with those, I think web sources is going to open up a huge playing field with having that integrated in there. And there is, since it has been talked about in a town hall, there is in the works directly integrated music and sounds that are coming directly into EVMUX that are not going to require a third party integration. So those are some of the three things that I think are the biggest importance. But of course, overall features, the biggest importance is to make sure that the platform is stable and easy for you guys to utilize. So because we can have thousands of features, but if you can't utilize them because the platform's not stable, then it makes it enough work. So this is why the length of like where features are coming out about are a little bit more, take a little bit more of a process, because we also try to future proof the feature as well, right? We want to go it's not just multi-camera, like you can just switch a camera. Like, how can we go deeper? Can we add additional features in that can also improve the quality of the production? So it's also those things in there as well. But we're a small, lean team that is focused 100% on making sure that the platform, when you log in, there's consistency and execution, that week in, week out, the platform is going to perform just as you need it to, because at the end of the day, when you push that go live button, there's audience and people, there's an expectation, not only for yourself of what you produce, but your audience also becomes accustomed to the level of production that you produce. And if we can continue to help you produce that in, week out, that's ultimately the goal. So but that's kind of where we're currently at. And of course, you can find us on all socials at EVMUX.com. But it's amazing. I'm super blessed and honored to be a part of this team.
Man, that needed to be a part of the news segment right there, right? That's major. Those are some heavy hitters. I'm gonna tell you, for me, web sources, huge.
Web sources,
huge.
That's going to open up a lot of doors.
For those that like, we're talking about super chats, we're talking about super thanks, we're talking about widgets, being able to, somebody subscribes, you can set a trigger.
It's huge. It's huge. It opens up so many doors. And it's super important, as well as the multi-camera is super important. There's ways to work around it, of course, with tech, but with gear and things of that sort. But for the most part, having a natively integrated in there, and then the web, I think the web source is by far the biggest thing that I've been pushing, simply because I understand like what you're able to do with that. It just opens up opportunities. So really, really excited for it.
Yeah. Listen, Roger Carter, I see your question there. I just want to throw it out there, man. If you I always tell people, utilize what's free first. But if you are at a place where you want to do a consult session just to kind of walk through some things, get your questions answered direct, real time, if that makes sense, then absolutely, by all means, use that same link, kirkarnugent.live/book me, and you can grab some time on the calendar there as well. I would love to walk that thing through with you. But again, like I said, always utilize what's free first. Don't go the paid route to begin with. Always try to utilize what's free first, and see what you got out there. But listen, I want to say a word of thanks to Anthony for your time, your dedication, just such a huge breadth of knowledge that you've been able to share with us. We didn't just talk about EVMUX tonight, y'all. Like if you're just coming in at the tail end for the Q&A, you missed a lot. You missed the show. Like there's some things that were shared earlier in terms of how to balance it all, how to juggle this thing as a content creator, keeping the main thing, right? Understanding what's the best next thing you can do to move the needle. How to balance. Those are some critical areas that we were able to cover tonight. And I want to just say a word of thanks to Anthony for coming through. Don't go nowhere as I get ready to close this thing out, but just want to say a word of thanks to you and the team over EVMUX for lending you to us tonight. Excited about the conference in January, man. I've got to figure out how I can get on that list of speakers.
Listen, you're talking to the right guy.
Listen,
we are here, man.
Sign me up, man. Sign me up, man. I'm excited about that.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited, man. It's been a pleasure. Love being able here to serve, to be here tonight. And again, super blessed for you and for all the viewers here who kind of dedicated the thing that's most valuable to them, which is their time. And they spent that here with us tonight. So super honored, Kurt, and I really appreciate it. Again, thank you everyone for having us here. And man, appreciate it. All
right, man. Appreciate you. Family, listen. Another one is in the books. Another live show has been absolutely awesome. It's been absolutely phenomenal. I do not want you to miss the key takeaways. You can find balance. He talked about doing your recon. He talked about the acronym WIN. WIN. My VA is going to put some chapter markers in the video. So if you're watching this on the replay squad, you'll be able to kind of jump around and find those critical pieces. But then we had a phenomenal Q&A section. Thank you guys so much for your time, your attention. There are 41 of you on the live right now watching. We cannot take that for granted, right? Time is your highest commodity, and you gave that to us for the last, how long is this? Hour and 17 minutes, and we appreciate that. We truly appreciate that. It's your boy, Kirk Nugent, the Geek Speaker Preacher, and we're hoping that somewhere in the show today, while Anthony and I were chopping it up, talking about content creation, talking about balancing all of the different things, being a mini production company in a box, essentially, I'm hoping that you were able to have that light bulb moment, that you were able to, see the puzzle pieces fit together, that you were able to peek behind the veil a little bit. Essentially what we're saying is we're hoping you're able to figure out how it all works. And we'll see you, family, in the next video. Later. Replay squad. If you are watching this, if you stayed this long, listen, you got to check out one of these videos right here. Okay, check out one of these videos. Later, fam.